Hi, I'm Steve Dagnald, and this is part 7 of Mankind and the Fermi Paradox. Thank you for listening. The idea that organisms compete with each other for resources is not extraordinary, but mankind's evolving mental states introduce a complication as dominion over everything in the environment is achieved. The fundamental processes of threat recognition and mitigation translate into a mental state of fear. Fear of the threat became the mental state driver for recognizing and mitigating the threat. As threat recognition and mitigation cease to meaningfully exist for mankind, since there is nothing present in the environment that is a genuine threat, our hyper-successful maladaptation is misdirecting the threat recognition and perceived fear at other people. The increasing pace of technological advancement results in ever greater capabilities which should make mankind's dominion even more pronounced. Instead, we're experiencing a more vicious and narrow fear response to other people. What should just be threat mitigation if there were a threat present has become hostility and aggression directed at other people, both individually and in groups or communities. This maladapted fear response is the product of our hyper-successful capabilities and is exactly not an indication of any meaningful threat. If preferred and steady states were the first mover leading to success and persistence, after which single-cell organisms evolved DNA in order to replicate more complex capabilities, leading ultimately to nervous systems and mental capabilities, then more advanced threat recognition and mitigation would have been selected for right from the beginning. As nervous systems and mental states developed in multi-cell organisms, the interpretation of threat recognition and mitigation as fear would have continued to be encoded in the DNA. If the DNA has the blueprint for mankind's nervous system, there should be traceability during zygote cleavage and further development, particularly during puberty into adulthood, to see how nervous system and mental state design achieves and matures threat recognition, mitigation, and the fear response. Having said this, I'm not aware of any domain expertise that is able to properly detect and interpret what I just described. Yet I believe the building blocks of precise atomic scanning exist to capture what is happening at the nano level during human development from fertilization, maturity to a child, and puberty into an adult. Wearable devices are now able to trace and measure the electrical impulses traveling throughout our bodies, from our peripheral limbs and sensory organs to our spines and brains. Advanced research is finding patterns of brain and nervous system function, behavior, and even personality, including what we perceive and think, with a surprising level of accuracy. Using wearable devices, there should be traceability to see how sensory input in nervous system and brain function generate the fear response. I believe it is theoretically impossible, I said that backwards, I believe it is theoretically possible to map the fear response developmentally from the start and operationally in real time in these two ways. I do not think mankind's level of scientific advancement in understanding DNA expression through human development, nor understanding how nervous system and brain function align with mental states and behavior is sufficient to discover how the fear response is built in by design or works in practice. To perform the two traceabilities I mentioned, a vast amount of nanodata collected from the developing human zygote through puberty into adulthood would have to be collected and understood. Likewise, a vast amount of nervous system and brain state data equating to a person's experience, thinking, and behavior also has to be collected and understood. Then, the equally impossible task of rewriting our DNA to re-engineer the threat and fear response mechanisms could be done. Not only would mankind never tolerate rewriting their DNA at this level, we will likely finish destroying our civilization before we're advanced enough to do it.